programa ng Special Opinion Balita at iba pa ay tumatalakay sa mga isu pang kasalukuyan at napapanahon. Mapapolitika, mapaopinyon, mapakomentaryo at balita, ang programa ito ay patas sa lahat. Walang kinikilingan, walang tinatampihan, at walang pinapanigan ang programa ito. Ang programa ito ay public service sa kahanginan at trabaho lamang.
Female voice, male voice, lolly voice.
Awesome! 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 Okay, ang time check natin, 19 minutos. Okay, pasado po alas 9, no? Okay, alas 6 po. Alas 5 po sa Amerika, alas 6 po ng Nobyembre 2024. Ayan po mga suki. And then, umaga po ng Miyerkules. So, kasalukuyan po ay nasa polling station po yung mga disiplinado kano magboto mga suki, no? Okay. But I just want to remind Kamala Harris, okay, to media coverage, no? Okay. All across America, he must be triple. Okay, not overconfident Kamala Harris, no? Even the rate of votes 55-45 as reported by Morning Joe America, she must not overconfident on the result of election in America, mga suki. No, kailangan Attorney Kamala Harris and her team, okay, must be aware. This is a very crucial, okay, election. News from the Middle East, news from the Central Asia, news from the Europe, and number one mainstream media in America must be watched also, okay, on their report, okay, on their report, okay, with regards to this election in America, no? Must on their guard. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz must on guard, okay, on the report of mainstream media, no? Okay, not social media, but mainstream media must also be watched by the team of Kamala Harris, no? Okay, kasi hindi ako news kaagad ay nag-monitor ako sa mga report ng mainstream media po sa pag-coverage po sa US election, no? Ayan. Okay, parang under control po ng kabilang panig. under control by the uh, former President Donald Trump, no? Okay. So, yan po ang na-observe natin, okay, sa pag-election sa Amerika. Okay. Dapat po mag-ingat si Kamala Harris, no? Okay ba? Okay, Team Kamala Harris must be aware on this, no? On this media reporting. Mahirap po ang communication pag ma-dominate mo, okay, mga condition ng utak ng tao, mga suki, no? Yan pinaka-danger po sa linya ng communication. Pag ma-control, okay, linya ng communication, ay kahit panalo ka, pwede ka pa ay talunin sa mga election, mga suki, no? So, yon ang dahilan hindi ako delay ako magbalita. Nag-observe ako ng mga report, okay, globally. Okay, report from the Middle East media, report from the Central Asia media, Europe, and even and number one, okay, mainstream media, okay, in USA. Ayan po, no? So, remind natin para hindi madaya, okay, itong si Kamala Harris, dapat ibantayan nila rin, okay, ang mga media report, mga suki, no? Lalo na po ng mainstream media. Ayan. Mahirap po. Manalo ka na and then talo ka pa. Mahirap po yun, mga suki, no? Ayan. Kasi yung communication, pag-condition ng utak ng tao, ay maaari po mabago po in the last minute, mga kababayan, no? It might be changed, the condition of mind of the voters, no? Because of the power of communication, especially the media. Ayan po, mga suki, no? Yung hindi makaintindi sa communication, yon ang i-remind natin kasi napaka manipulation ng communication, napakabigat, mga suki, no? Ayan. So, I just want to remind, okay, Attorney Kamala Harris, no? On this matter. O, tama bang English ko? Okay, kasi nagbayabas kasi ako nung mag-aaral ako, no? Sanay ako sa salitang natin, mga suki, no? Kasi tao ng lansangan. Yung mga panahon po ng martial law, okay, tao tayo ng lansangan, no? Ganun po. Okay, Kamala Harris, no? Mas triple check. Okay, media report, no? Ayan. Para fair ba? Para fair, just, okay, ang credible ang election result, mga suki, no? Ayan. Mautak yan ng kalaban niya. Very wise. Okay, flamboyant Donald Trump, mga suki. Very wise. Ayan po, mga suki, na. So, kung mahina-hina ka, ay maaari ka matalo po kahit panalo ka. Ayan, subukan na yung unang takbo niya. Yung collaboration with the mga hacker. Ayan po. Ayan, mga suki, no? Okay, mahilig mandaya eh. Ayan po, mga suki, no? So, hindi na tayo paligoy-ligoy. Mag-intro lang ako. Ito ay, ito po ang balita natin hangin. And then mag-intro muna ko, no? Dito po sa consolidated news natin. Okay? Sa kanyang himpilan po, sa news center po ng ADLSN TV News Online. Mga minamahal ko. Shout out sa lahat, mga suki, no? Shout out sa lahat. Okay, globally. Okay, 84 million to 94 million po ang page engagement natin, no? Okay, sa aking secret page. Ayan po, abot kay saan ang news natin. Okay, mga minamahal ko ay tagapakinig. So, ito po ang intro natin. Okay, sa balitang mahigit na isang dekada na mayagpag. Halo-halo special opinion balita at iba pa. Kasama po sa serbisyo publiko tinig ng mamamayan. And then, ugnayan po sa mamamayan. And then, ibalik natin sa mamamayan, pati sa US. Ibalik natin po ang balita natin sa kapakanan po ng election ito, no? Okay, maging patas, maging fair, maging katanggap-tanggap po, honest ang result ng election ito, mga suki, no? Hindi po magitan po ng pandaraya, rigs. Okay, naturuan natin ng Pilipinas po si Donald Trump, mga suki, no? Okay, baka naturuan ng Pilipinas sa pag-election. Okay. So, yan po, inobserbahan natin kanina pa tayo madaling araw. Wala kayo kung mga alas 2 ako mag-monitor pa. Okay. Kasi election na sa Amerika, no? So, mamaya-maya mga 5 alas 6 ata, 6 to 6. Okay, close na po ang polling station in all American polling station center, no? Okay. So, yan po ang makuha natin po sa mga feedback. Okay, sa ito mga kababayan, no? Okay, napaka-crucial pa naman. Okay, itong election po sa Amerika. Lahat mga media galing sa Middle East, galing sa Central Asia, galing sa Europe, galing po so, ewan ko sa meron ba representatives? Meron sa parang Malaysia, no? Meron. Okay, mag-cover po dyan sa US. Okay, TRT nag-cover din sa US yung galing po sa Russia. Okay, sa Turkey ata meron din. Wala ata sa Turkey, no? Ayan, hindi ko nakarinig po ang Turkey. Pero yung okay, Pew lang ang kakampi po ni Kamala Harris, no? Okay. So, yan po mga suki ay ano ang unahin na hangin. Kahit matagal ang news natin kasi election sa Amerika, hangin pa rin ang unahin natin. Okay, kaligtasan po ng kaligtasan natin mga Pilipino, mga suki, no? Okay, sandali lang.
Monster voice, female voice, male voice, lolly voice.
Okay, akala nila hindi ako mag-cover. Akala ata nila ay pahinga ako. Hindi ako ganyan. Pala nag-monitor ako ng report mga suki, no? Ayan. So, balitang hangin tayo. Antayin natin po balitang hangin, no? Okay. Okay. Sige po. Antayin natin. Okay, ang Pilipinas po kasama marami mag-cover po sa US, no? Lalo na po ang SMNI. Okay, pro-Trump pa lang SMNI mga suki, no? Ayan.
Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Narito ang ating update sa Typhoon Marce. Si Typhoon Marce ay dahan-dahan o kumikilos ito papalapit o patungo sa Northern Luzon. Kasalukuyan, ang layo ng sentro ng bagyo ay nasa 345 kilometers silangan ng Tuguegarao City, Cagayan. Napanatili ang lakas ng hangin malapit sa gitna ng bagyo na nasa 140 kilometers per hour at pagbukso ng hangin ay maabot sa 170 kilometers per hour. Ito'y ay kilos na direksyong west-northwest sa bilis na 15 kilometers per hour. At sa ating sa track at intensity forecast ng bagyo, inaasahan pa rin natin na ito'y kikilos generally westward o pakanluran at dadaan ang sentro ng bagyo sa extreme northern Luzon. Inaasahan pa rin natin na mapanatili ang sa typhoon category si Marce ngayon hanggang sa labas hanggang paglabas ng Philippine Area of Responsibility. Inaasahan po natin sa araw ng Thursday afternoon hanggang Friday early morning, ang sentro ng bagyo ay maaaring mag-landfall o lalapit sa Babuyan Islands o sa northern portion ng mainland Cagayan. Bago mag-landfall o dadaan malapit sa Babuyan Islands o Cagayan, inaasahan na aabot siya sa kanyang peak o pinaka-peak intensity ng bagyong Marce bago ito lumapit o mag-landfall sa Babuyan Islands o sa Cagayan. Estimated po ng paglabas ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility ay sa araw ng Friday ng gabi. Narito ang mga lugar na silalim ng Tropical Cyclone Ring Signal number 2. Ito ay eastern portion ng Babuyan Islands at northeastern portion ng mainland Cagayan. Signal number 1 ay nakataas sa Batanes, sa lalamig bahagi ng Cagayan, kasama ang Babuyan Islands, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, northern portion ng Benguet, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino at northern portion ng Aurora. Ang pinakataas na signal, tropical cyclone ring signal ay number 4. At depende po din yan sa development ng bagyong Marce. Pero sa ngayon, ang pinakataas na signal na aming tataas ay signal number 4. Sa araw na ito, inaasahan tayo ng pagbugso ng malalakas na hangin sa Ilocos Region, Quezon, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, at Catanduanes. Bukas, araw Huwebes, inaasahan din naman pagbugso ng malalakas na hangin sa Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Aurora, Zambales, Quezon, at Catanduanes. Sa araw ng Biyernes, inaasahan pa rin ng pagbugso ng malalakas na hangin ay sa Ilocos Region, Isabela, Aurora, at Zambales. Ngayon ay inaasahan tayong matitindi o malalakas na pag-ulan. Nakikita niyo po sa ating mapa ang kulay yellow. Sabihin niyan, inaasahan tayo ngayong araw na moderate to heavy rains sa Cagayan, Batanes, Isabela at Aurora. Bukas, inaasahan tayo na intense hanggang torrential na pag-ulan. Ito po yung kulay pula. Ang mga lugar na sila nito ay Cagayan at Apayao. Heavy to intense na pag-ulan, yan ay kulay orange. Ang lugar na sila nito ay Ilocos Norte at Batanes. Yung kulay yellow, ito yung moderate to heavy rains na inaasahan bukas sa Isabela, Abra, Ilocos Sur, Kalinga at Mountain Province. Sa araw ng Biyernes, inaasahan pa rin tayo na intense hanggang torrential na pag-ulan sa Cagayan, Apayao, Ilocos Norte. Heavy to intense na pag-ulan sa Ilocos Sur, Abra at Batanes. At moderate to heavy rains sa araw ng Biyernes sa Kalinga, La Union, Benguet at Mountain Province. Kaya, paalala na patuloy pa rin tayong mag-ingat at maging alerto dahil binaasahan pa rin tayong banta o binaasahan malalakas na pag-ulan na posibleng magdulot ng pagbaha o pagbuo ng lupa. Dahil sa bagyo, meron pa rin tayong gale warning. Ang mga lugar po na inaasahan na matataas na alon sa mga baybaying dagat sa Batanes, Cagayan, kasama ang Babuyan Islands, Isabela, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan at Aurora. So, kapag may gale warning, automatic na huwag munang pumalaon sa ating mga kababayan sa mga nabanggit lugar dahil nga po matataas ang alon. Ito yung ating warning sa storm surge. Inaasahan tayong mataas na alon sa baybaying dagat na aabot ng 2 hanggang 3 metro sa baybaying dagat, sa Ilocos Norte, Cagayan, Isabela, ganun din po sa Batanes, at may portion po sa Ilocos Sur. Yan po ang ating update ngayong araw sa binabantayan natin Bagyong Marce. Mamaya pong 11:30 ng umaga, kakaroon po tayo ng press conference. Maraming salamat, magandang umaga at mag-ingat po tayo.
Okay, si Alisarde Di Aurelio no, nag-report. Okay, sige, sige. Okay, repeat. Kamala Harris. Okay, triple alert, no? Triple alert on the latest, on the election day. Triple alert. Okay. Attorney Kamala Harris team must be a triple alert, no? Multiple alert. Ayan. Okay, susunod na parinig natin itong latest po na meron mga resort, partial resort, unofficial partial report. Okay, galing po sa Amerika mga suki, no? So, yon po ang parinig natin. Ayan. Para makakuha tayo mga partial unofficial report, no? Ayan. Ay. Sana. Ay.
Ang programa ng Special Opinion Balita at iba pa ay tumatalakay sa mga isu pang kasalukuyan at napapanahon. Mapapolitika, mapaopinyon, mapakomentaryo at balita, ang programa ito'y patas sa lahat. Walang kinikilingan, walang kinakampihan, at walang pinapanigan ang programa ito. Ang programa ito ay public service sa kahanginan at trabaho lamang.
Okay, latest resort, no? Partial, unofficial report. Okay. Key state, vote for Harris defeat Trump. Yung pinaka-key state mga suki, no? Okay, breaking news. Pakinggan natin ang breaking news ito.
Lagi ka ba nagka-travel at palagi ka rin nababad trip kasi ganito karaming cable ang kailangan mo? Itapon mo na yan kasi andito na lahat ang kailangan. Kung madami kang gadget, chances are meron kang need ng iba't ibang klase ng charger. Napaka-hassle niyang dalhin, lalo na kung kang kagaya ko, nakakabuhol-buhol yan sa bag mo. But everything you need is here in this tiny box. Not only you will have a 60 watts super fast charging cable, pwede mo pa itong i-mix.
Okay, cut natin ito para makakuha tayo ng update, no?
This could be one of the closest races in history.
We want the answer tonight.
Momentum is on our side.
The only way we can blow it is if you blow it. I've given you the ball. I mean, you got to go and vote.
You will make the difference in this election.
Good day, everyone, from NBC Election Headquarters in New York City. I'm Andrea Mitchell, along with my colleagues, Chris Chansing, Katie Tur. It all comes down to today, as Americans are voting across the nation. Polls are open. The ballot counting has begun. After nearly 81 million people voted early or by absentee ballot, today is the final chance for you to make an historic choice. Either Vice President Kamala Harris to become the first black woman elected president, or Donald Trump, only the second president ever elected to non-consecutive terms, and at 78 years old, the oldest person to be elected president. In a campaign that has already made history, it's the first time a president running for re-election has bowed out in favor of his vice president, who had only 108 days to launch a campaign, choose a running mate, and run for office. And it's been a contest marked by one candidate's profane and violent language, as well as 2 attempted assassinations against a major party nominee. Just a short time ago, Mr. Trump cast his ballot.
Okay, dito sa trending bago naman, breaking news din. Harris beat Trump versus higher vote. Okay, percentage. 50% kay Kamala Harris, 42% lang kay Donald Trump, no? Ayan. Ulitin ko, 50% for Kamala Harris and 42% for Donald Trump. Harris beat Trump versus higher vote. Okay, percentage. Ang early voting result ay mga na-count, mga 27 million na, no? Ang na-count. Okay. Ang na-cast, mga 78 million po mga suki, no? Okay, ngayon kasalukuyan po nakapila po ang mga botante. Okay, sa US pressing station, kung saan-saan po sa 50 states sa Amerika mga suki, no? Okay, ano naman? Okay, orderly ang pagpila po ng tao, hindi katulad dito agawan. Okay, sunod-sunod lang po. Very disciplined po ang mga magboto, no? Okay, pakinaan natin ito mga suki, no? Ayan. Sige, sige.
Near his home in Florida, and then spoke to the media. More on that in just a moment. Vice President Harris voting by mail this past weekend in her home state of California.
Now, of course, the best place to start on Election Day always is at the big board with NBC's Steve Kornacki. So what are we supposed to be watching for tonight when those polls start to close, Steve?
Yeah, Chris, well, the countdown is on now. A little less than 6 hours from now, we'll get some of 2 states, Indiana, Kentucky, not part of the battleground. Probably won't learn much there, but the real action is going to begin at 7 o'clock Eastern time. That's when our first battleground poll close comes in Georgia. Key in Georgia this year, the way the law is now set, if it goes to plan, we are going to get about 80% of all the vote in Georgia reported out in the first hour between 7 and 8 p.m. We could have a major clue about what's happening in a very important state very early tonight, followed not too long thereafter by North Carolina. 7:30 the polls closed there. Maybe not quite as quick and quite as massive, but we are expecting a lot of vote early to be reported out in North Carolina. And again, potentially, if there's some separation between the candidates, clarity at a relatively early point. We'll see. 8 o'clock, though, that's when the action begins. You get to the Midwest states, you see the asterisk at Michigan. Almost all of Michigan closes at 8 p.m. 4 counties on the outer edge of the UP are in the central time zone, but otherwise, Michigan results pouring in at 8. Pennsylvania at 8, too. It'll be the vote by mail first, the most Democratic-friendly vote. Keep that in mind when you see those numbers start to come in Pennsylvania later on. Arizona, that's really 10 p.m. The state law says they got to wait an hour after poll close to start tabulating things. Wisconsin at 9 o'clock as well. Nevada, 10 p.m. Keep in mind with Nevada, that's the poll close time. It can often take hours to get any votes out of there. The bottom line, though, is the possibility exists for this to go faster, more efficiently than it did 4 years ago. You remember we waited 5 days for a result back then. The large, massive, unprecedented number of mail-in votes in 2020 were the reason for that. These states have changed their laws in some cases. They have experienced processing mail now that they didn't have then, and the overall volume of mail-in voting is down. Early voting is up, but mail-in voting is down. That could ease the process too. So again, the potential here in the East and in the Midwest call it the Midwest. Nobody in Pennsylvania likes to hear they're in the Midwest. I'll call it the Big Ten states. The potential for some clarity in those states, but I'll tell you, if it's a cliffhanger coming out of there, and we're waiting on Arizona and Nevada, not only are they later tonight, but those two states, if they are close and we're waiting on them, they're the states where that issue with mail-in ballots and counting remains. We will be waiting for days if it comes down to those two and they are that close.
Steve Kornacki, all right, we're going to be watching. I'm still going to make a prediction. I think it's going to be tomorrow morning.
Okay.
That's what I think.
I think a lot of people would like that.
I think it's going to be tomorrow morning. I might be wrong, but I think it's going to be tomorrow morning. From the conversations I've been having with folks, 2020 was an exceptional year. All right, joining us now, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. He is a National Advisory Board member for the Harris campaign. Mr. Governor, what do you think? When are we going to get results from North Carolina? Yeah.
I think we'll get them pretty early, but the thing is, this is going to be a razor's edge race. It always is in North Carolina. This was Donald Trump's closest win in 2020. He's clearly worried about North Carolina because he knows if Kamala Harris wins our state, she is the next president of the United States. That's why that Donald Trump or J.D. Vance have been here almost every day, it seems, over the last couple of weeks, because they're worried. I've been out at our places that are working on Get Out the Vote. We have a superior ground game with the Harris campaign. People are excited. I've said many times I've got that 2008 feeling because North Carolina last voted for a Democratic presidential candidate in Barack Obama in 2008. We made history. I believe we're going to make history again. Our early vote returns our early voting was very high. People are turning out today. There's a lot of excitement here in North Carolina because we know that we can turn the tide of this race.
Well, Governor, let me ask you about the issue of the storm and how much do you think that was a factor? I know that as a governor you had to deal with a lot of moving polling places, tracking people who were evacuated. People still aren't in their homes. You lost power for weeks. What's going on there?
Helene was the deadliest and most devastating storm North Carolina has ever faced. We estimate now about $53 billion in damages, and you compare that to Hurricane Florence in 2018, which was about $17 billion. 100 people have died. This hit North Carolina hard. There's a lot of progress that's been made over the last few weeks. Power's back on, a lot of roads back open, schools back open. People have gotten temporary shelter, but there is a long rebuild ahead. The good thing is that we wanted people's voices in Western North Carolina to be heard, and our Republican legislature and I got together and we passed a bipartisan bill to give Western counties more flexibility. People are obviously voting early in Western North Carolina. Their turnout is strong, so their voices will be heard. I don't think the storm will affect the election in any way, but one thing I know is that all North Carolinians and people across the country who love Western North Carolina want it to rebuild stronger than ever, and we're committed to doing that.
Let me ask you, Governor, you mentioned the superior ground game. That is something, though, that the Democrats have been talking about for literally months now. I don't think there's been much dispute about the fact that there has never been organizing or volunteering to the extent that we have seen double, close to triple the amount of money spent on the ground game that we've seen in previous presidential election cycles. And yet, in your state, as across the nation, this is a deadlocked race. So as you look at those early voting numbers, as I'm assuming you're getting some reports already back for what's being seen on the ground this morning, what are the early indications you're feeling, and what are you going to be watching for tonight?
Well, we know that women's reproductive freedom is going to be a significant issue in this race. In North Carolina, the supermajority Republican legislature overrode my veto of a 12-week abortion ban by one vote. The people of North Carolina know that Donald Trump is responsible for that, and many people are mad about it. I'm not a political pundit, but one thing that has caught my eye is that in early vote in North Carolina, 55.5% of the electorate was women. That's a record. I think women are coming to the polls in greater numbers. I think our suburban vote is up significantly. As you know, North Carolina is the third fastest growing state in the country, so our demographics are changing. We have a lot more college-educated people. Our bluer, larger counties are even larger. So we feel very positive that North Carolina can hold a key here. Kamala Harris presents the kind of future that the Gen Zers, the people who have come here to open a business, want to see. She's been to North Carolina 21 times since she has been vice president. She cares about this state. I'll tell you, I want a president who wakes up every morning thinking about the American people rather than a president who wakes up every morning thinking about himself. That's a choice that we have, and I'm grateful to live in a country where we can cast a meaningful ballot to choose the kind of leaders that we want. This presidential race is important, but we also have important statewide races going on at the same time that will play a large role in the direction North Carolina goes in the next 4 years.
Well, you're talking about a statewide race. Let's talk about the race to take your seat. Do you think that the top of the GOP ticket for the governor's race, Mark Robinson, lieutenant governor right now, is impacting the way voters might be turning out for Democrats at the top of the ballot with Kamala Harris and all the way back down?
North Carolina Republicans have nominated the most extreme slate of right-wing candidates in the history of our state, led by Mark Robinson, which many people know about his history. But they've also nominated extreme candidates for Attorney General, Superintendent of Public Instruction, and other offices. We have a great array of Democratic candidates headed by Josh Stein, who's the current Attorney General. Jeff Jackson is running for Attorney General, Mo Green for Superintendent of Public Instruction. We have a great list. Rachel Hunt for Lieutenant Governor, Jessica Holmes for State Auditor, Allison Riggs for our State Supreme Court. These races, I believe, will draw out a lot of people in and of themselves that can end up helping Kamala Harris on the ballot as well. So we've got both a top-down and a bottom-up effect here in North Carolina that I hope and believe that can end in some very positive results for our states, at the end of the evening.
And let's talk about the first district in North Carolina, because NBC News is, it's a redrawn district, and NBC News looks at it as a possible bellwether for how the rural black vote may turn out. Let's talk about that. What are you seeing there and how it might indicate the success of either way?
Well, Don Davis is from North Carolina. He served in the state legislature. He is a veteran. He will have strong support. Lori Buckhouse is somebody who is for Mark Robinson and Donald Trump and the far right wing of the party. Don Davis much better represents rural northeastern North Carolina. I know him personally. I feel good about his race. It's going to be tight because our legislature has put in the most technologically diabolical gerrymandering of any state in the country, which makes it difficult for our congressional races, and it makes it difficult for our legislative races. We had a Supreme Court decision that required fair districts that weren't partisan, and now North Carolina has 7 Republicans and 7 Democrats in Congress, which is the way it should be. But then the Republicans took over our state Supreme Court, issued an opinion. Now that legislature has redrawn those districts, we'll probably lose 3 of those seats simply because of the way the lines are drawn. You shouldn't have to, your zip code shouldn't depend on what kind of representation you have, but the General Assembly has done a pretty good job of that. But I think Don Davis has a great chance to win today, and I hope that he can.
Governor Roy Cooper, thanks for starting us off. I guess no regrets that you decided to bow out of the VP sweepstakes, right?
Bigyan natin sila kasi araw nila ngayon, no, ang US.
The Hurricane Helene has hit during this last month. I've spent most of my time doing that. It would have been very difficult. So But thank you very much, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Well, we know you're term-limited, so thank you for your
Monster
service. Thanks for
voice,
being with us today.
female
We appreciate
voice,
it.
male voice,
For sure.
lolly voice.
And NBC News reporters are fanned out across the 7 battleground states and beyond. We'll be checking in with many of them throughout the next 4 hours, starting with Vaughn Hilliard near Mar-a-Lago and Mike Neville outside the Vice President's residence in Washington, D.C. Vaughn, first to you. Let's talk about Donald Trump. We saw that he voted. He wrapped up his final rally well after midnight. Talked again today at the polls. What's the mood inside the Trump campaign, and what did you read into his demeanor last night in some of those final rallies?
Mga kinukuhanan ko ng news ng mga independent news katulad natin, no?
Let's start off with 1 week ago. There was much higher level of confidence among the Trump campaign and allies about the positioning of Donald Trump. But over the course of the last weeks, Donald Trump, he did not keep the cart on the rails. And he continued to use denigrating language about his rivals. And it led to a point here where I was talking with the Trump campaign battleground source who said that they are very well acknowledging that this could go either way at this point. It's going to come down to who is literally turning out in these closing hours. But Donald Trump, you just saw, he's one of those voters that is voting on election day, and he just actually made quite a bit of news in a concise period of time there alongside of his wife, former First Lady Melania Trump. Specifically, our Garrett Hake and our colleague Jake Taylor were both there in that gymnasium. Garrett asked whether he had any regrets about the way that he has run his campaign. Donald Trump said, not really. He doesn't really have any regrets. And then the questions from our Drake trailer, they were very specific and are not so much applied to the hours ahead, but applied to Donald Trump in the way that he reacts to the results as they start to come in. And Jake's very specific question was whether he can see a world and is willing to acknowledge that he may not be able to declare victory tonight. To which Trump responded, quote, no, maybe it'll be later.
Kinukuha natin yung mga balance news ba?
Said whether he is willing to acknowledge that this may be a couple days from now, and would he be willing to concede this election? Of course, 4 years ago on election night, he claimed victory prematurely from the White House. And Trump responded that, quote, so far, I think it's been fair, referring to the election. So at noon today, he still thinks the election is fair, and he said he would be willing to concede a, quote, fair election. Of course, we've heard that before previously here. So there is a lot at play, but I'll leave you with the fact that Donald Trump also, though, did sound quite confident about his current position based off the early vote returns, and so far what his team has been telling him about the people, the number of Republicans who have been coming in person. And then actually one more on the question of violence. There was a lot here over the course of several minutes. There was a question of whether he could see potentially political violence in the fallout of the election results. I want to let you just listen to his response.
I don't have to tell them that there'll be no violence. Of course there'll be no violence. My supporters are not violent people. I don't have to tell them that. And I certainly don't want any violence, but I certainly don't have to tell. These are great people. These are people that believe in no violence.
A byproduct of covering Donald Trump in elections is that it's more than just election day, and activity doesn't end at 7 p.m. when polls close. And that is why all of these other answers are so pertinent to our coverage tonight and in the days ahead. Guys.
Thanks so much for that. Okay, let's go to Mike, where the Vice President is going to watch results tonight. Howard University, her alma mater, as you know, Mike. Look, she is not letting any grass grow. She's doing a bunch of radio interviews today in the battleground states. If you go onto her websites, they have a very big get out the vote push into the final hours of this election day. Tell us what the mood is inside that campaign and what we're expecting.
Well, Chris, I was with the Vice President last night in Philadelphia for that late night rally. She's back now in the residence making those calls into all the battleground states, including a radio interview she just did in Pittsburgh where she talked about the importance of getting out the vote. Pennsylvania, the 19 electoral votes, they're so critical, and it really is, of the battlegrounds, the state with the most same-day votes. So that's why you see not just those calls the Vice President's making, you're also seeing Governor Tim Walz campaigning on the ground with some union leaders in Harrisburg. Now, the Harris campaign really is, I think there has been a decided mood shift over the last week. They feel like they are finishing strong. As the Vice President said at that rally last night, momentum is on their side, but it is still going to be a close election now. The Vice President is expected to continue making some of those calls. She's also going to be dining with her family, a tradition on Election Day that she's looking forward to before she goes to Howard University. It really is a poignant moment for the Vice President. She even got a little bit sentimental in one of these radio interviews, talking about the fact that the very first office she ever ran for was for freshman class representative at Howard University. She said she's looking forward now to being the first HBCU graduate to be President of the United States.
Freshman class representative. I thought I knew a lot about Kamala Harris, but apparently I didn't know everything.
I think you know early on whether you want a life of public service. Did either of you run for office during elementary school or high school?
High school, sure.
You did?
College, sure.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did not. I was not.
I ran
That
to
was not
become
me.
the elementary school reporter in 6th grade, and I won.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Maybe, Chris, maybe you have a new life.
No.
Watch
Let's not
out.
start any
Chris
ridiculous
Jansen
rumors.
on the ballot. Bob Hilliard, Mike Memoli. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Coming up next, we're going to head to Battleground, Pennsylvania, where they are starting to count the votes right now. It's a state that could be key to who will win the war.
These final campaign weeks have felt like a very long year for Pennsylvania voters, and Election Day is bringing more ads, more text messages, a deluge of last-minute appeals in the most electorally lucrative of the battlegrounds. And by the way, $600 million spent by the two campaigns to win those 19 delegates. In the final push on the last full day of campaigning, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump held dueling rallies in the Pittsburgh area. And right now, Tim Walz is making one final stop in the capital of Harrisburg.
This week, I could not be prouder to be on this ticket. To watch that contrast, one that is hopeful, rule of law matters, Constitution matters, the American experiment matters, our neighbors matter.
The tight presidential race could have a significant down-ballot impact, with incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey in a tough battle against Republican David McCormick. Joining us now, NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin, who is in Pittsburgh. Tell us all about the importance of Allegheny County in the race for the White House and the Senate. Cambria County, what are voters telling you where you are?
Well, stop us if you've heard this before, but Allegheny County could decide whoever wins Pennsylvania at the top of the ticket. And it is because this place is just fascinating, right? This particular location that I'm at, it's northwest Pittsburgh suburbs. This polling site, bottom floor, Biden won by 16 votes in 2020. That's one district. Then the top floor is a slightly different district. Trump won by 23 votes. So this is as swingy as it gets. In fact, this area had actually gone for Republicans. McCain, Romney, switched to Clinton, then Biden. Question mark on what happens this time around. But I spoke to voters of all political stripes, all demographics, a steady stream of voters coming in person to the polls today. A county official told me she expects 500,000 people to show up in person to vote today. That's out of 1 million registered voters in this county. I spoke to one voter named Diane. She's 65 years old. She's a lifelong Republican who actually started to vote for Democrats once Trump came into the scene, sort of a microcosm, telling perhaps of what we're seeing in these shifts in the suburbs throughout the country and in battleground states, of course. Take a listen to this exchange.
I voted straight Democrat.
Yeah?
I'm a lifelong Republican.
You are? Have you ever voted for Republicans before?
I voted for Republicans until Trump ran the first time.
Up until 2016?
Yes.
And then you started voting for Democrats?
Yes.
Up and down the ticket?
Yes.
So you voted for...
Because we needed, we need to defeat him in all areas.
Diane told me her most important issue is women's health and autonomy. I asked her if she'll ever come back to the Republican Party, and she told me she doesn't know, but she wants to. She says, though, guys, that she believes the Republican Party of today has lost women.
Julie Sirkin. Julie, thank you very much. And we're going to look right now at Donald Trump. He's at his campaign headquarters talking to the staff out there. You can see Melania has taken off her sunglasses for this stop. With us now, former campaign manager for President Obama's 2012 re-election, Jim Messina. Also, Eugene Robinson, opinion columnist for the Washington Post. Gentlemen, it's really good to have you here. Jim, the other day you were on with me, and off camera I asked you how you were feeling.
Yeah.
And you told me your head says Harris, your gut says Trump.
How are you feeling today? What are you seeing, and what are you concerned or happy about right now?
Well, to the point about Pennsylvania, 70% of our models say Pennsylvania is a tipping point state. It really will probably decide this election. And when you look at early vote numbers, you look at the women vote numbers, 55% of early voters are women. That says there's something different going on in this election. I'd rather be Kamala Harris today than I would Donald Trump in a very close election. Because I think she has the ability to do two things. She has room to grow her electorate. You can see her reaching out to swing voters, to Republicans, etc. Trump is making a straight base appeal, which in a very close election, in my opinion, is stupid. And so I'd rather be her than him going into this. But she has a lot of work to do on the ground.
I guess when you say head and gut, I understand that because everybody had such a hangover from 2016 because everyone's head at the time said, yeah, well, it said Hillary Clinton, but Donald Trump was able to upset it. Eugene, how are you feeling about that?
So, at the Post, we columnists had to go on record last week as to our predictions, right? So,
So much has changed in the past week.
Well, my theory of the election is that the issues that were important in the 22 midterm, which were reproductive freedom and democracy, which people said, why are they talking about that? Well, those ended up being the top two issues for voters in that election. But they haven't gone away, that they've been exacerbated, and that is slightly lifts the Democratic vote. And so I've predicted Harris. Now that was what I predicted last Thursday, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right. Are you really sticking to it, or just because you have to? I mean, that's how you feel.
Well, number one, I have to, but number two, you look at the early vote totals for women, especially. And as Jim said, I think I'd much rather be the Harris campaign.
What about the rural vote numbers? How concerning is that for Kamala Harris's team?
Yeah, look, I think people look at this election compared to 2020, and I have lots of Democrats calling me out saying, hey, whoa. Their early vote numbers are more difficult. Trump's doing better in early vote. It's just not that simple. It goes back to Eugene's point. It's really about women, and women are 55, almost 56% of this. And I do think you'd rather meet Harris more today than you would have a week ago. Because clearly she is closing better. I mean, you look at the Iowa poll, you look at the New Hampshire poll this morning, women are moving at the end towards her exactly like they had planned. The question is, will they turn out?
And what we're seeing, by the way, in Wisconsin, I'm just getting a note from Wisconsin that their early vote is predominantly women. Republican as well as Democratic women, but the feeling of them with the Democratic Party chair. And he's been a pretty straight shooter in what he's been telling us and telling all of you, as you know, is that a lot of these are trending towards the reproductive freedom issue. We've also seen an incredible amount of ground level support, especially in Pennsylvania. So let me get back to that, because a lot of the early voting does look similar to what Trump got last time around. They've got to have a big turnout if Harris wants to win. And already there was a breakdown in Cambria County in Pennsylvania, Jim. And they're going to hold the polls open until 10 o'clock so that they can fix that problem, because there was a machine breakdown, which is very unusual in Pennsylvania. So already, you're not, if it's a close race, all you people out there, you're not going to know if it's going to be decided by Pennsylvania. 10 p.m. Eastern is the starting point. Cambria County hasn't come in, and that tends to be a red county, does it not?
It does. This is why, as a presidential campaign manager, you hate Election Day. You just hate it because all these things happen.
As an anchor and a reporter, you hate Election Day.
It's like time starts to really slow down.
And every donor you know calls with a rumor they've heard from Bob, their cousin, and then you have issues like this in a county where there's never been any problems, and so it's okay, they went to court, they immediately fixed it, we'll be about an hour and a half late. That's not a huge problem, but this stuff's going to happen all day, every day. To your point about ground game, the entire Harris campaign was built for this day, right? This weekend they knocked on 3 million doors. Today in Philly, they've already hit 100,000 doors before noon.
Wow.
So their entire theory is get us to Election Day and we'll win it on the ground. And the ground gives you between a half a point and a point in a race that could be this
What do you guys think about Joe Rogan making the endorsements late last night? day before election. I mean, the Trump team is counting on men. They're counting on younger men, the bro demographic. He's done all those podcasts. Lex Friedman, Joe Rogan, obviously, a number of others. Does it matter that he's come out and then Elon Musk amplified it to tens of millions of people on X? Does that get people, those low propensity younger male voters, out to vote today on election day?
I don't think so. Will it help? Absolutely, it'll help at the margins. But here's the truth. The least likely voters in the American demographic world are younger men. And Musk has been really trained on this. He's tweeting more than, I've ever seen him tweet, trying to move these numbers. And if he hasn't moved them before, an endorsement the night before is a pretty pale comparison. If you're the Trump campaign, you would have loved this 10 days ago.
And let me ask you, Gene, about the testosterone in the Trump campaign, from the RNC and Hulk Hogan and all the rest, to Mike Tyson as a validator in closing rallies and talking about putting him in the ring with the Vice President of the United States.
Yeah, I know, and Herschel Walker, and the whole 9 yards. I think it's been way, way over the top, and it may be appealing to a certain group of younger men or men in general. But as Jim said, they're not terribly reliable voters. I'd much rather be the campaign that's appealing to women who tend to be more reliable, who tend to follow through, who tend to do what they say they're going to do, rather than, dude bros.
Well, that leads me exactly to my last question for you, Jim, which is there a difference between appeal, and you could say Beyonce is extremely appealing for Harris voters, you could say Joe Rogan may be appealing. Is there a difference between that and enthusiasm that actually gets you to the...
Bakit? Okay, bakit na-cut? Why cut? Okay, ano muna natin, no? Okay, biglang na-cut ang broadcast nila.
Ang programang All Special Opinion Balita at iba pa ay tumatalakay sa mga isyu pang kasalukuyan at napapanahon. Mapapolitika, mapaopinyon, mapakomentaryo at balita, ang programa ito ay patas sa lahat. Walang kinikilingan, walang kinakampihan, at walang pinapanigan ang programa ito. Ang programa ito ay public service sa kahanginan at trabaho lamang.
Okay, meron pa? Okay, bilang na-cut po ang broadcast nila, no? Magkakaroon ng technical problema sa sound. Sige po. Okay, may balita po sa Small Bite. Sinong mayari ng Small Bite ito, no? Okay, sino kayo sumulat eh? Basahin na lang natin sa Philippine Muslim Today. Okay, BARM election in limbo. Senate bill threaten second postponement, no? Okay, basahin natin kahit malitang letra. Okay, di bang sa Moro, Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, BARM election are facing a potential second postponement, okay, with the Senate President Jesus Codera announcing his intention to author a bill in the upper chamber on November 4th. Okay, the proposed legislation aim, okay, to either, okay, postpone or reset the election, throwing, okay, the region's political landscape into further uncertainty. Yan po ang balita sa Small Bite. Okay, the potential postponement comes in the wake of the Supreme Court decision. Okay. Okay, tama na siya. Okay, ano na yon? Okay. Either postpone or to reset the election, throwing the region political landscape into a further uncertainty. Okay, di mahirap kasi basahin, maliit lang. Okay, the potential postponement comes in the wake of the Supreme Court decision, okay, to exclude Holosulu from the BARM core territory. Okay, this ruling, which many believe, okay, many believes violates the Supreme, the Bangsamoro Organic Law, has, ano ito, okay, has left Sulu, okay, province in the state of disarray, no? State of disarray. Napakalit naman letra ito. Okay, the decision has also sparked concern without concerns about the legitimacy of the upcoming election, with many questioning, okay, whether they can be held, ayan, fairly, be heard fairly, and transparently, without Sulu's participation. So yan po mga suki ang balita rito, no? Ayan. So, ano, ma-postpone ba o matuloy po ang election? Okay. Hindi po natin sinulat po ito ni kaibigan Bernie Felix Concepcion, no? Okay, yung veteran tayo nakasulat dito sa Buanga, mga suki. Siya pala ang sumulat dito, mga suki, no? So, yan po ang small bite po ni Bernie Concepcion, no? Okay, sige. Ayan. Okay. Okay, yan po ang Balita po dyan po sa Muslim Today News Online, no? Muslim Today ba yun? Muslim Today, mga suki, no? Ano naman ito sa NGCP? Okay, binabati po sino mga kaibigan natin sa NGCP. Ayan po mga suki. Sino ang pangalan niya? Okay, yung kababayan ko tagalamitan. Okay, sino ba yung okay, nakalimutan ko pangalan ni Madam. Ayan po mga suki, no? So, anong programa po ng NGCP? Okay, may pamasko ba dyan? Okay, may pamasko ba yung... lagi man mamigay ng pamasko po itong NGCP, no? Sino na ba yung kaibigan ko? Nakalimutan ko ng pangalan. Okay. Sige. Okay, yan po ang balita sa Small Bite. Okay. Ayan po mga suki, no? Officer pa naman ako ng NGCP Press Corps, no? Ayan. Sige. Ayan. Yaku.
Ang programa Special Opinion Balita at iba pa ay tumatalakay sa mga isyu pang kasalukuyan at napapanahon. Mapapolitika, mapaopinyon, mapakomentaryo at balita, ang programa ito ay patas sa lahat. Walang kinikilingan, walang kinakampihan, at walang pinapanigan ang programa ito. Ang programa ito ay public service sa kahanginan at trabaho lamang.
Papakan natin si Bernie Concepcion, no? Ayan. Okay, Bernie Concepcion, ay gusto kong magkape-kape tayo, no? Saan kita makita? Ayan po, Bernie Concepcion, no? Sige. Ayan.
Female voice, male voice, lolly voice, monster voice.
Hari nakaw Bernie Concepcion. Ayan po, okay. Retire na raw siya. Okay. So, sandali lang, saan tayo lipat? Wala na akong oras eh. Si Ma'am Bambi, no? Naalala ko si Bambi Kapulong. Okay, tagalamitan yan eh. Ayan. So, yun po, Bambi Kapulong. Ang memory ko paminsan-minsan nawawala na, no? Okay. So, Bambi Capulo. Okay, PR po, public relation po ng officer ng NGCP, malaking kumpanya mga suki, no? Okay, saan tayo pupunta? Wala na kong oras. Mag-monitor na lang. Okay, kaya naman monitorin ng US election, no? Okay, wag lang magkaroon ng rig sa... Palagay ko, close na yon, no? Kanina pa close. Okay, mag-count na lang. Mga ilang araw yung mag-count. Ayan. Sa Vermont, nanalo po si Kamala Harris. Sa Kentucky, si Donald Trump. Sa Indiana po ay si Donald Trump. At saka itong sa Carolina ata, no? Okay, mga teritoryo po ng North Carolina ba? Okay, teritoryo po ng Republican. Wala pa po yung mga Democrats sa state. Ayan. Pero sabi po ng mga political pundits, talagang lamang na lamang po si Kamala Harris, no? Ang trending ngayon ay 50 na 42, 43. Ayan po mga suki. Doon sa early voting, lamang din si Kamala Harris. Siya na talaga. Attorney Kamala Harris, the next president of the United States of America, no? And Tim Walz, okay, kasi automatic na yan. Black voting kasi. Tim Walz is the vice president of the United States of America, no? Okay. So, kung anong oras na rito? Alas 10 na. So, close na po ang pressing ka sa US, no? Ayan. So, magantay na lang tayo ng resort. Okay, magbantay. Okay, Kamala Harris, remind you. Okay, mas to multiple times, okay, to monitor the result of the election, no? The post-election na yung pinaka-problema na. Okay, huwag kang magkaroon po ng dayan, mga suki, no? So, pinaturo natin ng Pilipinas, okay, si Donald Trump po para gumaya po dito sa Pilipinas, no? Okay, pero hindi makalusot po sa Democrats. Hindi po makalusot sa Democrats yung mga kalokohan, mga suki, no? Okay, mas advance ang Democrats sa team, okay, sa election, mga suki, no? Kaya dyan nila former President Barack Obama, nila Michelle Obama, okay, nila yung sino bang sikat na talk show, si Oprah, si Oprah Winfrey, okay, si Oprah, mga suki, na nila Lady Gaga, okay, nila Bruce Springsteen. Ayan. So, wala po, hindi mo kalusot, mga suki, no? Okay, nila Taylor Swift, Swift. Ayan. So, magantay na tayo ng resort, kung ano na po ang resort ng election. Okay, malalaman natin yan after mga ilang oras na meron na po partial report, unofficial partial report, no? Ayan. So, ganun lang po ka-election sa Amerika. Pero discipline, no? Okay, pagpila po sa polling station ay ayos na ayos po, walang agawan, mga suki, no? Kung sinong nauna, yun papasok po sa polling pressing. Okay. Wala po, hindi po sa pawan, hindi agawan dito patulad sa atin, lalo na po dito sa minority province, mga suki, no? Okay. Very smooth po ang election, okay, sa Amerika, mga suki, no? So, anong gagawin natin? Ay antay na lang po ng resulta, no? Okay, mag-aantay na lang resulta. Okay, kung ano po kalabasan ng election. Pero ako'y kampante po si Kamala Harris ay lamang na lamang, no? Okay, huwag sana ay madaya siya. Okay. Kailangan po ang fair, ang resort po ng jazz, orderly po ang resort po ng election yan, no, sa Amerika. Ayan. Wise talaga itong si ano, no? Okay, wise talaga itong pag last minute na pag condition po ng mga mind ng mga voters ay nakuha ni Donald Trump yung mga media sa Middle East, okay, sa Central Asia, at saka kahit dito sa Southeast Asia, meron siya nakuha. Yung SMNI mga suki, no? Ayan. Sige, nakapadala pa ng SMNI ng representative papunta sa US, no? Ayan. Nakapagbalita pa rin sila. Ako wala po mga suki. Kumuha lang ako ng conduit, mga collaboration media po sa bansang Amerika, no? Okay, pulubi pa tayo. Hindi pa kaya po magpadala. Ayan. Malay mo sa kalaunan ay makapadala tayo. Ayan, so, pag meron mga sponsor. Ayan. Okay, yan po ang kabuuan ng mag-terminate na tayo ng programa ang mga suki, no? Okay. Magantay na lang tayo ng resort kasi monitor ko naman kaya po 24/7. Dito po sa mga system ko, no? Okay. Kaya ginawa ko kanina ay panay share lang. Okay, gano'n na maugali ko mag-share ng mga picture ng mga kandidato. Okay, para papasok po sa 84 million to 94 million po worldwide ay yung page engagement natin, na. Okay, sa public page ko wala, mga 20,000 lang, gano'n. Pero sa pinakamalakas na page, niwasan ko mahak mga suki, mga halimbawa mga iba, multiple page ko. Okay, hindi mahak ang pinaka-original mga suki, na. Okay, niwasan na natin. Mahirap na po. Katulad ng election ni PBBM at saka si Lenny Robredo, no? Nahack ako ng before mag-election, na. Ayaw ko na maulit yun. Ayan. Wise din ang kampo po ng matalino rin yung mga kampo ng PBBM, no? Nahack ng account ko. Kaya paralyze po yung network ko para kay Lenny Robredo, no? Yun po mga suki. Hindi ko makalimutan. Talaga nga hinanakit ako noon, no? Can you imagine lagyan ng kalo po yung boss ko sa Amerika? Grabe. Yan ng kalo. And then kinalat po sa lahat ng member po ng aking page. Yung network ko. Pero alam ko na po kung sinong gumawa yan, no? Ayaw ko na lang magulo. Okay. Kuha ko rin ng kung sino gumawa yan. Ayan. Okay na lang yun. Experience na lang. Kalaban din sa mga politika ba? Sige lang. Hindi naman magtagumpay yan. Okay, mga suki, mga kababayan, yan po inaantay na lang natin ng result. Ng resulta po ng election sa Amerika. So, mag-terminate tayo ng programa. Okay, kung meron mga special report papasok, magbalik tayo on the air, no? Pag at least, close na po election sa Amerika, bilang na lang. Okay, para mga ano na doon nun, mga alas 8 na, alas 7 na ata, alas 8. Hanggang alas 6 lang ang butuhan. Okay, so ang gawain na lang natin mag-aantay ng result, mga suki, no?
Awesome! Awesome!
Female voice, male voice, lolly voice.
Okay, salamat sa mga suki-suki natin. Okay, sa umagang ito. Okay, wala na po ay si Attorney Kamala Harris po ang sunod na presidente ng ika-47, no? 47 President of the United States of America. Okay, sa trending lang. Okay, mga 55. Malayo masyado at saka 45 lang kay Donald Trump, no? Okay, 55 kay Kamala Harris at saka po 45 lang kay wala, malayo. Okay, landslide. Okay, ayan po mga suki, hanapin na lang natin ang sound and then paalam tayo, no?
Ay tumatalakay sa may supang kasalukuyan at nakapanahon. Mapapolitika, mapapinyon, mapakomentaryo at balita, ang programa ito'y patas sa lahat. Walang kinikilingan, walang kinakampihan, at walang pinapanigan ang programa ito. Ang programa ito ay public service sa kahanginan at trabaho lamang.
Okay, buenas po ang kuan natin, no? Buenas magdala ng kandidato po itong halo-halo special opinion balita tiwapan, no? Tingnan mo naman. O, panalo naman na ang ating Kamala Harris, no? Ayan. Okay, termination naman ng programa natin sa umagang ito dito po sa sa kanyang Consolidated News, news center po ng ADLSN TV News Online, no, sa kanyang tahanan Okay, at saka sa programa niya ng mahigit na isang dekada, itong halo-halo special opinion balita, diba pa, no? Okay. So, happy naman tayo. Okay, panalo naman ng kandidato natin sa Amerika, mga suki, no? Ayan. Huwag lang madaya. Pero sa base po sa mga itong polls trending, okay, mahirap na po madaya kung ganong lamang. Okay. Ayan po mga suki, mga kababayan, paalam tayo. Okay, good morning. Okay, magandang umaga po, Bambi Kapulong ng NGCP. Okay, kumusta ka? Okay, bati po mula sa programa po ng Halo-Halo Special Opinion Balita at iba pa sa mahigit na anibersaryo na, no? Tapos ng anibersaryo, 13 anniversary po, Ma'am Bambi Kapulong, no? Ayan. Okay, termination naman ang programa natin dito po sa Halo-Halo Special Opinion Balita at iba pa. Kasama po serbisyo publiko tinig ng mamamayan at saka ugnayan po sa mamamayan. And then, yung mga nakuha natin kabutihan dito, binabalik din natin sa mamamayan, no? Okay. Okay, wala nang selfie-selfie, hindi mag-selfie. Okay. Hindi po yabang itong abang lingkod nyo po sa kahanginan, no? Okay, so hanggang dito na po ang programa natin. So there you are. Okay, wala tayong masamang tinapay. Okay, sa ating programa. Okay, balita lang ng patas, no? Okay, balita lang ng patas. Hindi po magsinungaling itong programa natin, no? Okay. Okay, meron binalita rito, nahuli daw sa motel. Saan ba nahuli? Sa motel? Okay, magkalaguyo mga suki, mga kababayan. Dito sa Buanga, no? Okay, balita pa sa isang station. Grabe, no? So, ano yun, mag-happy-happy? Okay, mag-happy-happy sila? Okay, hindi mag-asawa, no? Hindi mag-asawa. Ayan po mga suki, no? Ayan, okay, sige po mga suki, no? Ang project po ng NGCP magmula sa 2008 hanggang 2023. Meron presko ng ang NGCP, no? Kasalukuyan. Okay, siyempre ang boss diyan si Bambi Kapulong. Okay. So, hanggang dito na po. Wala tayong masamang tinapay. Okay, nag-monitor lang. Sabi po ni Punto Rod Navarro at saka number 1 reporter po niya. Okay, si Joe Taruk, mga suki, no? Ayan. So, paalam tayo. This has been Abs Damahan. Okay, sa umagang ng Miyerkules, tuloy po pag-monitor natin 24-hour po hanggat matapos po ang election sa Amerika, no? Okay, kahit hindi na dito sa news, pero nakatutok pa rin ng gamit natin po sa election sa Amerika, no? Okay, lastly ay Kamala Harris. Okay, you must take care and multiple guarded of the result of the election, no? Okay, you are now the next president of the United States of America, no? Okay, no way makapanalo po si Donald Trump. Wala. Malayo po mga suki, no? Ayon po sa trending ng mga political pundits, okay, mga pollster, okay, ng Amerika. Sige po, bye-bye na. Babalik ako mamang hapon sa Primetime News, no? Ayan. Buenas pa rin tayo, no? Buenas pa rin. Ayan.
Ang programa ng Special Opinion Balita at iba pa ay tumatalakay sa mga isu pang kasalukuyan at napapanahon. Mapapolitika, mapaopinyon, mapakomentaryo at balita, ang programa ito ay patas sa lahat. Walang kinikilingan, walang kinakampihan, at walang pinapanigan ang programa ito. Ang programa ito ay public service sa kahanginan at trabaho lamang.
Okay, Team Kamala Harris, naka-monitor na po lahat sa mga mainstream media, no? Okay, naka-monitor na. Magmula sa Middle East, magmula sa Central Asia, sa Europe, okay? European Union, dito sa atin, sa Southeast Asia. Okay, mamanto na po mas okay, no? Sige po mga kababayan.